Well, Ruslan, just to take forward with our viewers with regards to the big takeaways of the BRICS Summit, 2 days, what, in your opinion, are the big takeaways of the summit?
Well, I would say, obviously, Prime Minister Modi's meeting with Xi Jinping is one of the most important events happening on the sidelines of the summit. But as we're going through the summit, the Kazan Declaration seems to be one of the most important highlights. I'm still going through it. It appears to be massive. It's 43 pages long, and it's as extensive as it can be. It covers such a variety of issues, from the regional conflicts to the issues related to the international agenda. So global equity, payment mechanisms, it's extensive. And I suppose this is one of the key developments and one of the takeaways of this summit. What I think it signifies is that each country, everyone has a seat at the table. Everyone brings something to this table, and everyone is listened to, and everyone is currently being heard, as we can see demonstrated by this declaration.
As far as Moscow's expectations are concerned, following the bilateral that took place, the Russian President, Prime Minister essentially once again spoke about the fact that it is through dialogue and diplomacy and not war that we can move ahead. What is it that Moscow is really expecting from New Delhi at this point in time?
Expectation is probably the wrong word for the kind of relationship that Moscow and New Delhi are enjoying, because we've seen both leaders and representative of the state calling it a privileged strategic partnership. It's been developing for the last 80 years. So I think it's called partnership for a reason. And so there are no specific expectations. Both sides know the underlying interests and needs, and both countries know that they will follow their own interests and needs. But this is what makes this relationship so special and so pragmatic, let's put it this way as well. Obviously, India is one of the powerhouses and the centers of the emerging world order. And it brings incredible lot to the joint table of this BRICS partnership, right? For instance, we can highlight that India's role is essential when it comes to the reforms of global institutions like the UN Security Council, like development banks. Obviously, India's voice matters especially when it comes to establishing the BRICS payment mechanism, right, that everyone is talking about. In that respect, I myself find Prime Minister Modi's pitch or suggestion to use the UPI experience. I thought it's very curious. We were talking among ourselves, among the journalists here, and that was our forecast. In a way, we thought that UPI might be like an example, or that UPI example might be, beneficial. That being said, when it comes to bilateral relationship, I suppose Russia's been, for instance, paying attention to India's potential free trade agreement with the Eurasian Economic Union. We've heard Russian officials talking about that on the sidelines of the summit.
Well, Ruslan, the other big act that we witnessed was coming together of India and China, the bilateral that took place a short while back. The Prime Minister once again reiterating the fact that this is about regional stability, and the message that has been sent across to not just us but also in West Asia. How is the world really looking at both the nations coming together and making the message that here is an example of regional stability and perhaps the template forward?
I think it'll definitely be one of the main and most important highlights of this summit. Both leaders coming together first time in 5 years, and I suppose Russia can take pride in bringing those countries or those leaders together at the table, and it does definitely signify that role that BRICS can be playing, and the approach and the values that BRICS is promoting as working.
Well, thank you very much, Ruslan, for joining us and putting this into perspective as you get us those ground reports from Kazan.
Thank you.